Lewison. I'm the Managing Director at Terrapin Asia and the Chief Operating Officer at Terrapin. And I'm here this morning with Tessa Koo, the Marketing Director for Asia at Xero. Morning, Tessa. So to get us started, I thought it'd be good to talk about how our relationship first started. So we've been working with you and your team since accounting and finance started back in, I think it was in back 2018. And actually you and your team were probably the very first people we even came to speak to when we were first launching the event. So, you took a leap of faith with us then, and you came on to a show that was brand new and as a launch. So can you talk us through what encouraged you to work with Terrapin and to take that leap of faith back then?
Thanks, Sharon, for having me. So really, at the time when Terrapin came to us with a proposal to join the Accounting and Finance show, I think first of all, what we recognized was just the show's opportunity and its potential. And I think specifically for Xero, it focused on an industry and segment that we felt was quite underserved in Singapore and Asia. And was highly targeted to the audience that we were looking at. So, definitely small businesses as well as accounting and bookkeeping professionals. So it was just a great opportunity and a very targeted conference that Terrapin put forward in front of us that could complement our local community activity and help us engage with a highly relevant audience. So I think since then, since the start, and it continues to deliver on this front as well, the show definitely has given us an invaluable platform to speak to a highly relevant audience, and it continues to deliver on that front.
Great. Could you share a little bit more about some of the experiences that you had at the physical show and some of the response and some of the feedback that you've had from your team and your customers?
Yeah, so I think first of all, starting from the beginning, the show had very relevant content. And it gave us a really great platform to speak to a community of small businesses and accounting and bookkeeping professionals. What we value since the start with Terrapin is definitely the collaborative nature of our partnership and how we're always seeking to optimize the experience collectively. I've just seen how the content has improved over time, the content strategy, the relevance to the audience. And our team highly values the interactions we get from the shows as well as the leads that we generate. And lots of great feedback too from the customers, partners, and prospects that we engage with. So all in all, just a really positive experience.
I think you've pulled up a really important point there, which is actually we worked in collaboration together. And I think that's one great thing about the partnership with Terrapin and the Accounting and Finance show and Xero is that your team's highly engaged in the event and work very closely with our team. And I think that then that really has, it has been very much a partnership, and that we've both been striving towards the same goal, and that is, and getting results for both parties. So I think that, giving the feedback back to you as well, that your team, really, they're very strong B2B marketers, and I think that they pushed everything forward with us on that front. So, and I think that's great. I mean, obviously this year's been a bit different for everybody all around, and we were, we turned our events virtual quite early on, and I think quite early on we had a discussion with you and your team about what we're going to do with the November show, etc., and what a virtual event might look like. So, you guys were the first to convert over to virtual and to come with us on that journey right from about June last year. And you also supported the Accounting and Finance Hong Kong show, which we then kind of relaunched as a virtual only event. So could you tell us a little bit about your experience on the virtual event and how you and your team are feeling about virtual events in the future?
Definitely. I think when we start having conversations around the Accounting and Finance show having to transition into an online one, it certainly wasn't a surprise for us, because internally at Xero too, a lot of our flagship events, we were having similar conversations, and definitely a challenging time, especially having to adapt on the spot and create a completely new experience. I think as a whole, our experience with the Terrapin team has been that the team's always been very proactive and professional, and always seeking new ways to improve the content and event experience as well, ultimately to deliver the best experience for our customers and the audience. So this was definitely true in this year. especially given the challenging and uncertain environment that we were operating within, and as the show moved to a virtual experience. So I think it's, again, the collaboration and the quick response. I think we're very upfront with the fact together as partners too, that, this is very, a very new situation, a very uncertain situation. We just have to collaborate and learn together to design the best experience that we can. So the Hong Kong show was the first cab off the rank. And I think there was so many learnings there that we applied to the Singapore show that really helped improve the experience at the end of it too. So really, at the end of the day, it's collaboration and partnership.
Yeah. How are you feeling about 2021 and physical shows, virtual events? How do you see these dovetailing into your marketing strategy for next year?
What's interesting is that Asia as a whole, I would say, is an insight, is that Asia culturally has not really been very responsive to virtual events. And we've definitely found that true with our event strategy and community engagement activities as well. There is culturally a need and an expectation to engage with representatives or engage with a brand in person. And I think that's just intrinsically what Asia is. It's building those relationships in person that customers and our audience truly value. What an opportunity the virtual experiences has given us is to engage with them online, which is definitely way more scalable, and it gives us accessibility into areas and countries that we've never had. So that's definitely been a massive opportunity and learning for Xero. It's definitely fed into our strategy for events going forward as well. One takeaway too is that in the past year, we definitely have seen a lot of success with virtual events and webinars, whereas before pre-COVID, it was just something that we couldn't push through because there was just no appetite or need for it, at least from a customer and prospect point of view. So ultimately, testing with virtual experiences shows us what's capable, especially from a lead gen perspective. And I think from a trackability point of view too, you just have way more sophisticated tracking when everything's online and digitally enabled. Nonetheless, though, I still think that physical events will continue to play a part. And I think that's also speaking to the unique and intrinsic nature of Asia. Virtual experiences would never eradicate or replace in-person engagement and relationships. So I do think that going into 2021, we are looking at a hybrid model. There is a place for physical events, there is a place for virtual events. There are pros and cons across both. For physical events too, you don't necessarily have certain barriers to collecting leads as you would online. For instance, when you're engaging in person and having conversations and building that personal relationship and interaction, you're more likely to get a lead's contact versus online where, it's really just, do I want to submit it or not? And a lot of people don't. So there are pros and cons across both. You can't replace the interactions you have on ground, but virtually as well, it gives us lots of opportunities in terms of tracking leads and really measuring the ROI. So a hybrid one is definitely one in which we're looking towards in 2021 for Xero, and also in terms of the external conferences that we'll be participating in.
Yeah, I completely agree with everything you said. I mean, you've pretty much summed up my feelings as well. And I think that virtual also offer us, as both parties, a great opportunity to test new markets, because it's a lower cost entry for both us as the organizer, but also you as the exhibitor. You don't have to travel, you don't have to build stands, etc. So I agree. I think that the two things can work really nicely together. So brilliant. Okay, I think that's probably brought us to the end of our time. Thanks very much again for all of your support, and we look forward to working with you in 2021 on our new launches into Malaysia and a CFO summit and a digital practice summit, and our Hong Kong one and our Asian one all over again. So we've got lots planned. So we're looking forward to working with you guys again in partnership into 2021 and beyond. So
likewise, looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Thanks.